As a photographer, I constantly meet women that wish they were more beautiful. They'll say to me, change this, Raquez, fix this, smooth that. Or I'll catch them saying, oh, they're not beautiful, or they wish they could do this to their bodies or that, looking at this, comparing themselves. All of this pain. This made me realize that women face so much pressure just to feel like they're enough. So I decided to create the SHAPE campaign. SHAPE represents simply human advocating positivity everywhere. SHAPE, get it? So I launched a nationwide search and received submissions from all over the country, but only 7 proved to have what it takes. I want to take the diamond in the rough and make her shine brighter than ever. I'm looking for determination, creativity, confidence, and heart. Every size, every color, and every shape. And you better believe I don't shoot for the stars. I create them. SHAPE. Welcome back to another episode of the SHAPE Campaign Podcast. I'm your host, Raquez Rouse. Today with me is the wonderful, intelligent, and fabulous Miss Shonoda McMillian. How are you, Shonoda?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being a part of the SHAPE Campaign Season 3. How has this experience been for you?
So far, it's been a wonderful experience. It has really brought a different side of me, and also just kind of made me think as far as to put more value into myself as well. So I'm really enjoyed the campaign so far. So yeah.
Fabulous. Now, I know that you are from Lucama. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Lucama. North Carolina.
Yes.
Where is that? And tell me what that is. Is that a small town? Is it?
Yes, it's actually a small town outside of Wilson County, so it's in the outskirts of Wilson.
Okay.
So, and it's about probably an hour from here, and maybe like 45 minutes. So, I've been there all my life. It's very country, very peaceful, and things like that. So, I love it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's good. You know, normally people when they're from small towns are like, I'm ready to get out. They can't wait to leave. So, it's actually refreshing to see that you love where you're from. I'm from a similar place. It's called Washington, North Carolina. So it's the same area code, also 252.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that same affinity for my place. Like, even though I don't live there anymore, it's still like that love for home. Nothing will ever replace home, right?
Yes, because and it's actually not too far from me. It's like going towards Greenwood, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Probably like 45 minutes.
Awesome.
So I don't mind like being in the city, once I come up here if we have like a shoot or something, but I like to come back home and it's very calm, it's peaceful. You get to hear it like the birds every once in a while. I get to see the stars and stuff.
Yes.
So it's not like as far as dealing with a whole bunch of lights and everything.
Right.
So that's why I love it. So I'm going to be forever a country girl.
Speaking of stars, like, I don't know, it feels like every interview we've been doing for this season, you all have like brought that theme in some way into the conversation, which I think is confirmation that we did the right thing. How was the shoot? Because that was like a big part of this process as well.
That was amazing. So even though the little incident I had leaving my dress, but overall it felt good to have, Pauline to do my makeup. She did a wonderful job, even just for asking like for makeup tips. She was like very comfortable, just having that conversation and just putting the garment on itself. I felt beautiful. The environment wasn't like tense or anything. I was very comfortable. You just kind of let me do my own thing and just let it flow. So I had fun. I definitely had fun. I felt like I don't know. I just feel like a goddess floating.
I'm excited. Before we get too deep, first, I have an icebreaker that I like to start with.
Okay.
To kind of break the ice. The game is called Shape Shifter. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Okay.
And give me your first response within 15 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. So the first question is, what's the best one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
I said the best piece of advice I would give to my younger self is I would say speak up. I know that's kind of like, well, why that? Because I feel like always growing up, I never spoke up for myself. And I hold a lot of things in, and that's something that I'm still working on now, is to speak up and let my voice be heard. And that's one thing I would tell myself, like, girl, you need to speak up because your voice is important. People are hearing you. People need to hear what you have to say, hear your thoughts and your opinions, because if you keep letting that, holding it in, it's going to come out the wrong way. And I don't want all that to be bundled up. So that's one thing I would definitely say to my younger self.
To speak up. Okay.
Yeah.
Well said. Next question. If you were offered one free cosmetic procedure, what would you choose?
Ooh, I'm going to say either between my lips or I would say my abs. But I would say lips. I think I would just just a top filler as far as like just plump lips. I don't know why. I just like big lips.
Okay.
So it's nothing bad, but I just feel like, when you put your lip gloss on, you put your lip liner, and sometimes when I be looking at like makeup tutorials, I'm like, oh my gosh, your lips are so beautiful and things like that. Not saying that I don't care for my lips now. I love my lips, but I like little plumpier lips.
That's very interesting coming from a Black woman to hear you say that. Like, because we're Black folks known for the lips and the features, the Afro features. So I don't think I've ever heard a Black woman say that she would like more fuller lips.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. Next question. Which television character has inspired you the most?
Ooh. Does it have to be like a cartoon, or can it be like a show or anything? That's a that's a hard one.
Time's up. Okay, might have to come back to that one. If you think of something later, let me know. All right. Next question. What is one song that has helped you overcome a heartbreak?
One song that I was, I would say I don't have one, to be honest. I feel like music in general is my outlet. So whenever I have like a long day or anything, I just turn to music just for peace.
Okay.
So I can't really say I have listened to a song like, oh my God, I can't get over this. That's my outlet.
So, well, let's ask it this way then.
Okay.
You said for peace. So what's a song that brings you that feeling of, because I think when I say overcome a heartbreak, not necessarily that you're depressed about it, but you are feeling inspired or empowered to move on with your life.
Masego, and here's my favorite artist. And I would say a little bit of Janelle Monáe. She's my
I remember you telling me about her.
I love Janelle Monáe. And I guess I would say Float. And her other song, I like that. Because it does make you think like, dag, sometimes I do feel different. Sometimes I do feel like the oddball, but once you really look deep down in yourself and you really think about things that happen, you're like, I'm really that girl. I need to stop sleeping on myself,
Hold that part. Speaking of that girl, maybe this will be your answer to the next question. What is one song that makes you feel like that girl? That was literally one of my questions on here.
I'm gonna go back to say, I'm gonna just say Flute. I would say Flute. I just feels like it's a transition. So, just watching myself blossom in certain areas that I never thought that would happen or be, strong in. I'm just very surprised about it. So I would definitely say that song.
Okay. I'm going to let you slide on that one because you technically cheated because you can't say the same song.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I'll let you slide. All right. Next question. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
My superpower would be, I would say to read minds. Because sometimes we may not know what to say, or you don't know how to, I guess, approach a person. So, and sometimes, like, I feel like as people in general, we have a hard time communicating. And I guess sometimes they expect you to read your mind. So maybe I read it, maybe I can kind of find a way of how to address the situation. Like if there's something that we might disagree on, or there's something that you want to ask. And I'm like, okay, how can I go about, this is what they're thinking. So how can, give me a way to approach it.
So let's tie the two together. Your first response about speaking up for yourself more and reading minds. Let's tie them together.
Okay.
So if you could read people's minds, would you also hope they could read yours if they're not speaking things? Or would you just want to know what they're not saying, that you feel like they have more to think about, that you want to see like what's in their brain?
Yeah, it'd be more of that.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, this final question, 10 seconds.
Okay.
A tricky one too.
Okay.
What does the acronym SHAPE stand for?
Oh my God.
No one has gotten this all the way right. One person got one letter right, but time now.
Oh God. Ooh, this might be a doozy for this one.
Time's up.
Yeah, time is up.
I will challenge you and the listeners and the people that are in this campaign to really know, because it's in there. It's part of the whole mantra of what SHAPE is. So you'll learn before long. Okay. You'll learn before long. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in today with you expressed that you want to tap into that side of you to speak up for yourself more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that is when you first came on board and we with casting and everything, that was something you expressed about. I think there was a situation. I understand that you're a school teacher.
Yes.
As well. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I just felt like, of course, when I got into teaching, first got into it, it seemed fun, and I seemed like I was able to enjoy it more as far as building a relationship with the students, building a relationship with the staff, and I just feel like you were a big family, even though you did have disagreements. But along the line, I couldn't even tell you what happened. I just felt like I lost confidence along the line, and there was certain things that may happen, and instead of me being like, okay, I really need to say what's on my mind because this is really bothering me, but I chose to kind of pick my battles. I don't really think they're going to hear anyway, so I'm just going to kind of just be in my little box, mind my business, and just keep it from there. But along the run, it was hurting me as far as in the workplace, because people will say little slick things or things that's happening, and instead of me being the adult about it and being professional and just pulling to the side like, hey, you had said something to me last week and I didn't agree with it, or I'm not too fond of it. I just kind of let it just roll off my shoulders and just.
What's something that was said that you feel comfortable sharing?
One of the things, of course, teachers are looked upon as far as your data, as far as making sure the students make growth, as far as in their reading or math or whatsoever. So there was one year, I was teaching 6th grade at the time, and it was around Christmas time. So my students, some of them are dancers, some of them are on step team, or they do cheer and things like that. So they wanted to come up with the routine. So that was like, Miss McMillian, can you, dance with us? And I'm like, sure. I was like, but we had to find the time to practice. So whenever we didn't have class, or they had lunch or something like that, afterwards we'd take a few minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and we would come together and we go over our routine and things like that. So we finally got the routine together, and on this particular day, we decided to do a flash mob. So right before we dismissed or whatsoever, I think our guidance counselor was there to help us at the time. We had the music set, and she was like, are you ready? So we got into the middle of the hallway where the office is, and we did our whole routine. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. The assistant principal at the time, she enjoyed it and everything. They was like, y'all did a good job. We can't wait to see you the day of the parade. So the principal, she calls off and say, thank God I didn't hear it. I'll get to that in a minute. But she was like, well, when they have time to practice that? So my coworker, she was like, well, yeah, whenever they have a moment after the class or after specials or lunch, they had time to practice. So she was like, well, I hope her test scores are good and things like that. And I was like, really? You would really say that? Like, I'm building a relationship with these students, and I understand that the school overall, as far as their math scores for 6th grade, which I'm just getting here, it's like my second year here, it's going to take time to grow the scores. But for you to even come that out your mouth, like, it made me mad. And I cried that day because I was like, that's something that you never say. But then you want me to come and ask you for help, or you like, well, if you need something, I'm open arms and things like that. No.
So tell me why did that make you so upset?
Because I never had anybody to really talk to me like that or say something out the way. And I just feel like as a leader, you should be wanting to help your teachers. You want to help them grow. And I just feel like along the line, you had an agenda set out for me, like you want me to feel. And
So she told you that directly, or you heard that she said that from someone?
it was from my coworker. She told me about it, but the assistant principal heard it. The guidance counselor heard it. She heard it. So 3 other ears heard the same thing. And for you to say that, you don't even know me. You just came back to the school as principal. And for you to say that about your staff member, it's like you have something against me already.
So let me just add a different perspective based on how I perceive it. I want to make sure I understood correctly the situation. So the principal, basically, give you the short version, we're doing some type of event with the students, I guess to build morale, or just to build a connection with them. And you're a math teacher, right? Or you teach all of the different subjects?
I teach all the subjects now, but at the time it was just math.
Just math, okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So she was basically undermining, or just second guessing your ability to improve their scores in math. Is that correct?
Yes. And the thing is, because I only been there maybe just a couple of months, because I started late there. But that was kind of like my first time working underneath her. She was there before as assistant principal, but of course, you know how they change out where, once you become assistant principal, she went to an elementary school for, I guess, like 3 years or so. And then she came back at principal at the middle school that I was working at. So the former principal that was there, he left to go elsewhere, which is understood. But, I was like, well, Dad, everybody's just leaving because,
So, and I'm just wondering too, like with that, because I can understand how that would make someone feel like you're being second guessed or underestimated, for a better word.
Yeah.
Is it that you just felt like you were being underestimated, or do you feel like she really was zoning in on you and targeting you?
I feel like she was really zoning in on me because she didn't do anybody else like that. She only done me like that. Even in the midst of COVID, I just feel like I was the only one that was being targeted. She didn't bother anybody else except for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is it about me that you are so against? Like, what did I do to you? I don't even know you. And you're coming at me this way. I don't like it.
So the grades for the students were low when you got there?
Yes, it was low when I got there. Okay. So it wasn't like I've been there for like 2-3 years and there hasn't been any improvement. It was already like that. That's been a struggle for the time being. Even for the principal that left beforehand, he know that was a struggle for the 6th grade. But I did make little growth while I was there. But I guess going into the next school year, he left. My math coach, she left. My mentor left. So it's kind of like everybody's leaving, and I don't have anybody to grow me. And my main thing is when I come into this field, I want to grow. I want to work or show my potential, because I do doubt myself sometimes. But yeah, for her, it was a no. It's definitely yeah.
So do you think that had you had the conversation, or did you have the conversation with her to at least ask her about that particular instance?
No, I didn't. At that point, I didn't even want to have a conversation with her because she was just a nasty person. She was a really nasty person. She came off like, well, I just want to do everything and I can to help you. If you need me to co-teach, I will do that. But I was like, I feel like you're out to get me because of the way that you did me.
You told her that?
I didn't, but I did write it in a letter.
Okay.
So once we leave the county or whatsoever, they ask you to fill out this form as far as if we asked you to come back, would you come back? And I just told him no. I said, I never had anybody to treat me like that. She was very nasty. And as long as she's there, I will not come back.
So let's look at it this way. What if you would have told her how you felt? What do you think the outcome would have been?
Maybe she would have understand where I was coming from, and I probably feel like a breath, a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have really told her how I felt, because there was a moment where we had to do like a PDP, which is like a professional development type form, where we kind of list our goals for the school year, what we want to do and accomplish, and she had sent me an email. She was like, hey, I need for you to sign this. So it took me a whole week and a half to sign it, because I was like, you have an agenda. I don't know what you have against me, but I'm not going to sign something and then you deliberately go behind my back and put something else. And the reason why I said that, because she had a foul on me I didn't even know. So you had something already set for me. You was trying to put me on an action plan for what reason?
A file meaning like I guess a development type of situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, why do you even have this on me? What have I done for you to even try to start a file on me? That's what drew the line. And when I talked to my old, my math coach about it and things like that, and I was telling her what was going on, she was like, yeah, you got to find something else. And even my principal, I was telling him about it, and it was a form of harassment. And it just blew my mind, because I was like, this is crazy.
And it's really, thank you for sharing that. It's it's challenging to take just what you said from that one instance and say that this person is this way. So, because I don't know their pattern, so I do look at patterns as well. I think that's important to look at patterns. But if you've had your advisors telling you, okay, yeah, this is a problem or this is that, did they know that person, the principal?
Yeah, that's the funny thing, because when she started off with them, according to, from their word, she was never like that. Mm-hmm. And my math coach even noticed, like, when she came in and announced that she was the principal of school, she was like, the whole room was tense. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue.
So it sounds like to me that not saying anything to her, not just you, I'm not putting all on you, but you were contributing to that too. All the other people that had some type of angst about her, no one ever calling her up on that, it kind of does her a disservice, because she can take her same behavior other places and make those environments toxic as well. Yeah. So it's like, not only when you speak up are you advocating for yourself, you may be advocating for other people that may be afraid to speak up as well.
Yeah.
And then you also take that, like you said, a breath of fresh air. You take that weight off of your shoulders. Like with me, whenever there's something that I need to speak on and I know I need to speak on it, I won't feel comfortable until I speak on it. Because it's like my heart will be heavy and I'll feel bogged down and stressed. But once I release it and say it, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if necessarily the resolution is what I wanted it to be. But once I express how I feel lighter. And honestly, it boosts my self-esteem, because I feel like I'm advocating. If nobody's going to advocate for me, it's going to be me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I implore you, Shonoda, to take that same approach to fight for yourself. It's like, that's what you're doing, fighting for yourself, really. Because yes, it's nice if people speak up for you when you're not in that space. But if they don't, who is?
Try not to cry.
It's okay. I mean,
because my mom, she tells me that all the time. You got to speak up. And sometimes it's hard. So,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your guy Quest here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Shape Campaign podcast. And as a quick reminder, please be sure to check out all of our exclusive interviews from the rest of our Shapecast, as well as the promotional rollout at raquezrouse.com. And for more exclusive behind-the-scenes stuff that you may have not gotten to see, at my Instagram handle at mr.raquezrouse. That's Mr. Raquez Rouse. Now back to the show.
It's not easy. Listen, it is not. If it was easy, more people would be great at it.
Yeah.
And I think also understanding your style of communication. So maybe for you, it is writing it. Like you said, you wrote it in the exit review or whatever.
Yeah.
The only problem that I have with that is that you're not there to really get any feedback.
Yeah, it's kind of like once you're gone, that's it.
And who's to say they really look at it?
Exactly.
You know, because
yeah.
if you're leaving, if someone's leaving my company or whatever, not saying I don't care, but it's like, well, you're gone now, so it's not nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to believe in yourself enough to say, I'm worth being advocated for. Doesn't mean you have to have a scream, yell out, fight, but it just means that I'm going to let you know that I value me, even if you don't, because I'm all that I have, you know? And I think you'll feel better about yourself too. And you won't second guess yourself because you have to trust your intuition and trust that the way you feel is valid. It doesn't matter if they don't see it that way. Trust me. There's been instances where people may try to make me feel crazy and gaslight me and all this stuff because I feel this way about something. But I have to trust myself to say, no, Raquez, you feel this way for a reason.
Yeah, and that's what sometimes I get so angry about myself because I'm like, I want to speak on this, but I don't know how to approach it because I'm definitely an overthinker. So I try to like think how the situation is going to play out. I'm like, okay, if I say this, how they're going to feel. I'm not going to come off like in an aggressive way, but I do want you to understand why I'm feeling this way, why I'm feeling this way. You know, it's not just I'm trying to nitpick at everything, but if I feel like there's an issue, I do want to talk about it, but I do have that moment where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Let me sit on it for like a couple of hours, you know, maybe, and then see how I can go about approaching it.
So let me ask you this. What are some tangible, active ways that you can improve communicating how you feel to other people?
I would say, you know,
because you articulate yourself well. So it's not that you don't know what you feel. That's not the problem. It's just not being afraid of how they think about how you feel.
I probably just need to just come out and say like, hey, you know, if you have a moment, I would like to just sit down and just talk to you about something that's been on my mind. It's really bothering me, and just come out and say it. I mean, there's really no other way around it. You're going to say it, or you're just going to keep holding it and bottling it in. So
let's role play, right?
Okay.
So I've just done something to you.
Okay.
That made you really uncomfortable or offended you. Time now.
Let Raquez, you had said something, or you done something to me the other day that I wasn't too fond of, and I just really want to sit to you and just talk to you how that made me feel. It really hurt my feelings, and I didn't appreciate that. I don't know if that was your way of trying to help me or give me some type of advice, but if you would have done it a different way, I probably took it a little bit better. But the way that you did it, I felt embarrassed, and I wasn't too fond of it. And I just wanted to let you know how I was feeling and why I'm feeling this way. So if I have acted a little, you know, distance from you, that's why. Because you really, you know, put a little wound there. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think the only thing that I feel like I would, suggest as a recommendation is your body language and your facial expressions when you say it. Because you're easing into like, I think that I want to tell you this, but I don't know if you're going to be offended by me. No, just say it.
Okay.
Matter of fact. Doesn't matter if they agree, but you have to express it. And I think also a part of that communication is in how you present the information.
Okay.
So it's about also body language and the tone. And not saying kinda, it did. It didn't kind of offend me. It did offend me. And I've been distant because I felt like I needed time to express, to think over what was, the problem, so I can express myself to you in a way that would be appropriate. But I think what you said was very assertive and everything. I just think you need to work on the body language and just say it. Be direct about it. Don't apologize about it. That's the best way. That's how because me too. When I was a kid, I was very, very shy and timid. And that's one of the things that my mom and my family would tell me all the time. Speak up, open your mouth and talk so they can hear you and all this. And it would always make me feel like I was like weak
Yeah.
or feel like I was not, strong or something. And it's like now it's like I don't have that problem. But in my mind, sometimes I still go back to that little boy where I'm being told to speak up. Or if I don't address something instantly, I feel like I have to like be more aggressive about it because it's like I don't want anyone to try to think that I'm weak or that I can't stand up for myself.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I think along the line, people do take my, I guess, niceness for granted, and I do feel like I give you this week sometimes because even though I had this soft-spoken voice, they're like, "Oh, you wouldn't hurt a fly. Oh, you wouldn't say anything," and things like that. And I'm like, if y'all only knew the thoughts that goes inside my head sometimes. I'm like, some things y'all say, it bothers me, but again, that's going back to speaking up and just addressing how I feel. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I really want to say what I'm feeling.
What are some of those thoughts that go through your head?
I just feel like I don't like being used. I don't like being called or, not saying that I was called weak, but I can tell that you think that I'm weak, or as far as what they were thinking. And I'm like, this is how I really feel. And I would come home like, Mom, this is what's going on. This is things that's happening. I feel this way and this way, and I don't like it. And she's like, well, did you say something about it? Did you address them to it? She was like, well, just pull them to the side. And I'm like, I guess so. I want to. And then when I get there, it's kind of like I just chicken out.
What are you afraid of if you do that? Like, what's the worst case scenario that can happen if you really express yourself?
Burning bridges. I just feel like, not to say I have to be friends with everybody because everybody's not meant to be your friend and everybody's not your friend. But I just want to end on good terms, and not have anybody to have any animosity towards me. And even though I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm just, again, like you said, just expressing how I'm feeling. But I think that's one of the main things is like people looking at me differently because now I'm voicing my mind, and like I said, again, it doesn't have to come off aggressive or anything like that, but I'm just to the point where I'm just getting tired now, and of people thinking that they can say anything they want towards me. And sometimes, like, I think about, like, do I really want to give this energy to this person because you're ticking me off, and I want to say how I'm feeling. But at the same time, I'm just not going to respond because I just don't have time for it. But I guess that's my main thing is it's just, that's the main thing I want people to hear.
Like, are you afraid that if you burn bridges that you won't have anyone in your life to support you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if you were all that you needed? And I'm not saying like you don't need people or friends and community. But what if at your core, your own validation and your own, self-approval was enough? What if that is the case?
If that's the case, I know this kind of like contradicting myself, but I feel like that would be okay.
It would be okay for them to have animosity?
I mean, not to have animosity, but if it was just for me by myself and just me validating and speaking for myself, I feel like I would be fine with that. I mean, if they don't want to speak or anything like that, you just have to let it go because at the end of the day, everybody's not meant to go with you on your journey.
So let's take what you just said.
Okay.
And let's pair it with what you said before about you don't want to burn bridges and you don't want people to have animosity towards you.
Yeah.
You said that's the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, because I'm a friendly person, but I guess once you've done something, you've done it. But
what I'm saying is, I believe that's okay. I believe it's okay to have your own self-approval and validation. And if you burn bridges along the way, maybe they weren't bridges that needed to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying just be haphazard about people and not have interpersonal skills. Yeah. That's not what I'm trying to communicate at all.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you're going to burn bridges and it's just something that you can't control.
Yeah.
But I don't think your bridge to yourself should ever be compromised over a bridge with someone else. Because that's a bridge that you can't afford to lose. Because if you lose a connection with yourself,
that's it.
They're no good for you at all.
Yeah. It's like you're losing yourself. And I don't want to get back into that hole where I'm putting everybody else before me, and I'm losing as far as the thing, as far as taking care of self. Thinking about how I'm feeling, my feelings, because I'm worrying about somebody else's.
Absolutely.
So
I think that what I would recommend, because I'm not a therapist, so I'm not trying to play that role, but what I would recommend is maybe you should try putting your own self-approval above the validation of what other people may agree with or not about how you feel about it. Because your feelings are there for a reason. Not saying your feelings should guide every action you make, but your feelings are an indicator on if that action may be the right thing for you to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I want you to, because you are such a beautiful person inside and out. And I think that you don't deserve people in your life that don't need to be there. I heard it this way before, and I love this. I don't owe anyone access to me. I don't. Being in my life is a privilege, not a right. I don't owe anyone access to me, not even my family. If there's anybody in your life that you feel is not a positive or an asset or in some way beneficial to your life, you may need to consider that they might need to go. Because your self-worth and your self-happiness, your happiness is your sanity. Like, you have to be at peace with yourself. That's what I believe. All right.
Well spoken. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's go. I see that you're cutting your hair. So like by the time people see this, they're gonna see your pictures in the shape promo and like, well, that's the same person. So tell me about this hair journey.
So before I cut my hair, I wanted to start locks, and I'm still thinking about doing it. And during that time, I was like, well, if I lock my hair, I'm gonna still have all this, stressed hair on my head, dead hair. And I was like, I don't think I want that. So I would say probably May 12th, 13th to be exact. And again, still dealing with sick parent too, dealing with work and trying to get all that situated. I was like, oh my God. So I just came home to my mom. I was like, Mom, I want to cut my hair. And she's like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. So I gave her the clippers, and I just said, just start cutting. And she cut it for me, but I went to the bathroom and I cut it some more. And I just wanted a new start, a new journey, because I know they say, well, you always, if a woman cuts her hair, she always going through something. It's like, yes, I was going through something, but I really wanted a fresh start, because I just felt like I was taking care of my hair, but then again, I wasn't. Like, I had tension spots. Then, I would put it in like a tuck and roll or whatsoever so it can look neat and stuff for work. But I was like, yeah, this is not it. I got to have a fresh start to actually have a set regimen for my hair to take care of myself. And that's the start. So that's why I ended up cutting it.
Wow, that's amazing. More power to you for that, for sure.
Thank you.
Now, I know with your father, I know on the day of the shoot, you actually had a medical emergency, right?
Yeah.
How is he doing?
Well, he's able to move his limbs and things like that. He doesn't have a trachectomy anymore. I think that's the right term for it, but that's out. But he does still have a feeding tube. And the thing now is just waiting to get him in a facility. So he's not like he was when he first started off back at the end of March. But I am ready for him to get out of there so he can have some type of physical therapy done and things like that. So when I go up there, he's aware. I ask him to squeeze my finger. He's able to do that. He's able to use the bathroom and stuff on his own. So his kidneys they're good, because it was a point where he was on dialysis for a little bit just to get his kidneys back regulated. And he's nonverbal, but his eye is focused, but he's not 100%. I'm gonna say maybe a good 20 or 30, maybe, but it's a day by day thing. So yeah.
How gut wrenching that must be every day. Just knowing he's in the hospital, right?
Yes, he's still there. Yeah. He's been there since March 31st.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Definitely sending him all the healing energy and prayers and thoughts as well.
Thank you.
That he will make a complete recovery.
Yeah.
That definitely adds on to stress, I'm sure.
It does. It at first I did take it hard because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to stop, modeling a little bit, and then I'm ready to get over this teaching. I'm just kind of over that, because that was already stressful, and I was like dealing with a sick parent. I'm not used to seeing him like that. Even though we were close, but it wasn't like I'm a daddy's girl. But I was like, I just don't like to see him like that in that state. But it's still taking day by day, and I am getting back into doing things that I love, but also making sure that I take the time to take care of him as well. So,
How old
yeah,
is your dad?
he's 58.
50. Young.
Yeah,
Young. Wow. Hmm. Well, definitely my prayers to you and
thank you.
to your father as well. Um, Now, I know this is the summer right now. So are you teaching now, or are you doing summer school? Are you
Oh, no summer school, no teacher for me,
okay?
but I am working freight at Five Below. So I've been there for a while. So whenever
You're working where?
Five Below.
Five Below. Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay.
doing freight. So whenever I'm not in school and we're out for the summer, so that's where I usually go,
Okay.
and we just put up merchandise and things like that, something to keep me busy. So or if there's any upcoming shows there's a shoot, then I probably do that as well.
Okay.
hmm
Is that what do you so during that time? Because I'm sure that's a different pace for you because you're not 5 days a week, early in the morning teaching class.
Yeah.
Is it more of a vacation for you because it's like you have a break? Are the students the ones that are like really, I don't want to say stressful, but keep you busy? Or is it just the staff at the school that's really stressful for you?
I feel like it's both the students and the staff that is stressful, because I think in the past 2.5 years, school years that I have had an rambunctious class.
Mm.
And I felt like I've done everything that I can to try to build rapport with them, to make sure that I'm actually communicating with the parents and, with the students, giving them feedback and things like that. But I just felt like over time, my love for school was starting to just drop. I was doing just enough to get by, just to kind of get through, because I was just over it. And I'm not a person that likes to give up, and I'm very determined, and I like to push forward whatever I'm going towards for it. But at that time being, I was like, I don't know how much more I can put up with this.
And I think also we have a different generation.
Yeah.
You're 30.
I'm actually 31 today.
31.
It's my birthday.
Today's your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That is crazy. I probably would have saw that when I looked at my calendar or something. But yes, happy birthday to
Thank
you.
you. Thank
For real.
you.
This is wow.
Yep.
That is amazing. Okay. Well, happy 31st.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So what are your plans? Do you have anything planned?
I didn't have much. My boyfriend, he planned. He did like a little at home symphony paint for me, and he got me like some sushi and flowers.
Nice.
I went walking downtown yesterday, and I just picked up my camera, and I just like taking pictures of landscaping, like flowers and things like that, just to practice with my camera some. So I was like, that's what I did.
That's
so
incredible.
As far as today, I know I do have rehearsal later on, but after that, I just probably would just dress up and just go somewhere, just because I like dressing up, and I haven't done that in a while. Like even in the midst of school, I would come to school, like might have some makeup every once in a while and just dress up, but it was to the point where that colorful, bubbly spirit of me, it showed everywhere. It's like I was wearing, slacks. Just of course you wear slacks anyway, but like just blacks and maybe some grays, a little blue. But I like bright colors. My favorite color is brown, but I don't mind being vibrant either. And I just felt like I'm not able to express that. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get this and just call it a day. But when I'm away from school, if I'm like in front of a camera, if it's like a shoot or something, even though I might be tired, it's different. I feel like a flower that's blooming. I'm like, this is me. Like, I enjoy this. People get to see my wonky outfits.
Let me tell you something. And for our listeners and viewers, what you just said was the best way to describe you on the day of the shoot. You just, even in the midst of, okay, a little backstory to those out there. First of all, your father was dealing with his health scare. that was happening. And I think that had just started like maybe a couple weeks prior.
Yeah.
And then you had forgotten your dress at home for the shoot. I wasn't even bothered by it, but you were so stressed about it.
I did, because I didn't want to come off like, oh my gosh, he must think I'm so unprofessional.
I was totally fine with that. But it was like, to me, the way you just kind of captivated everything, and like on the day of the shoot, it was like you just slayed. Like some of your pictures were some of my favorite out of everybody. Like, and I'm not just saying that. I was looking at your pictures, and when you see them, I know you're gonna be super proud of yourself and impressed. But you just, I don't know how you did that. The compartmentalizing that you did, maybe because you have to do that with school and your other situations you have going on. But you just really lit up, and you stole the show. Absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So I was very, very impressed. One more thing here. I see that you say that a photographer once told you that he could not see you being a teacher and a model. Talk about that.
Yes, actually, there was a meetup downtown. And it was like a fur fashion meetup. So, everybody had like, these beautiful brown minks and things like that, and me, I just used what I had. I didn't have like a, brown fur vest. I had pink, hot pink at that from Target.
Mm-hmm.
So I just used what I had. So I was like, okay, this is fun. And I think around that time, that's when I decided to take modeling more seriously. So I was like, let me just go at it. And I freaked out because I did break a nail that day. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me make sure that it's not in the picture. But so one of the photographers, he was like, I thought it was cool. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to come and take you over here. We're going to shoot against this wall. And I was like, okay, cool. So, he started taking pictures and this and that and this and that. And then there was a point he was like, well, your body language is great, but your facial expressions is kind of like, So I was like, okay. So I was like, kind of like, what can I do to, I guess better that? So he showed me Coco Raja. I think if I say her name wrong, so don't get me, guys. But he showed me that, and he said even though she was a little extra with hers, but she was going through all the different poses, all the different facial expressions. So ended up exchanging numbers and things like that. So I guess I don't know if that was his way of trying to pep talk me, but it did not help, because I cried. Because he was like,
so you cried because he had told you about you said your body language was great, but was he saying like your facial expressions?
No, it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that afterwards he was kind of like, well, I saw that you followed me on IG, but I couldn't take you seriously because your Instagram is private. And I was like, I have it private for a reason, because I don't want my students on my page. Like, it's not even that I'm trying to like withdraw myself from the world. Like, I really do not want my students on my page, because they look at you as a, you're
an educator.
Yeah.
You have to
you have a representation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, okay. So which I did start my model page later, but, and he was like, then he went on to telling this story about, let's say if you come into the party and you have on this dress, and then another female comes on with the same dress and everybody has attention on her, what are you going to do? And things like that. And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't know what to say, because I was like, I don't know where you're trying to get at. And in other words, it was kind of like, yeah, I noticed you're short compared to the other people. And I just don't see how you're going to make it with trying to be a model and an educator. And I was like, what do you mean? I never had anybody talk to me like that. I said, I don't even know you personally. And for you to even say that to me. And I was in shock. And it did tear my confidence down, because I'm like, what I felt like I was doing good from at least the 2 or 3 people that I worked with. I thought I was doing okay, with me still being fresh into modeling. But for you to just kind of tell me that I don't see you getting any further than that, just because of my job and I'm doing modeling, like what?
So I'm sorry that happened. But I will say this too. You said that it kind of tore your confidence down. But if it's there, it can't take it. They can't take that, because you're gonna have people like that. I'm sure you know that now. But that's why that connection to yourself, like we talked about, is going to be very critical for you. And I hope that this experience at least aided that. I'm not sure if it completely changed everything, but I hope it aided.
The advice that you have given me, it's, giving me time to reflect and just to really think about those things. So I'm taking heed to it, and it's making me learn a little bit more about myself as well. So I do appreciate the advice that you have given me, and to take heed to it where I can actually use it. And so it's not coming at me like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. You're giving me suggestions, and I am taking heed to it. So yeah, and I'm thinking about actually starting a board, and my prayer board and my affirmation boards, and I'm just gonna write down some things and stick it in the envelope, and get some validation to myself. So yeah.
Shonoda, thank you so much again for being a part of Shape. You have inspired me. Women like you, this is definitely the reason why I started this campaign. And I hope that, we get to work together in the future. Yes. And I wish you all the success and growth, and go get them. Do everything that you set your heart out to do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity for you just bringing me out a little bit more. I really feel like this campaign has really gave me time to reflect and think about myself, and really dive deep into myself, of who I am, and to understand my value and my worth. And the funny thing is, I just got off the phone with my mom when I was driving here, and this really taught me to value yourself as a woman, and that's what this really has brought, besides speaking up, but to really invest and value yourself most of all.
Well said. No other words needed. All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to another episode of the Shape Campaign podcast. I'm Raquez Rouse, and we'll see you later.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Shape.